On January 15th, it came across the radio that Governor Youngkin had signed an executive order removing mask mandates from school.
It allows parents to opt out of mask mandates in schools.
Jack, my 10-year-old son with cystic fibrosis, heard that order, and he turned to me with his big, beautiful eyes and his curly hair, and there were tears welled up in his eyes, and he said, "Mom, does that mean I can't go to school anymore?" So I took that as my cue to start looking for a way to help my son be able to maintain access to his education. Jack is 10 years old and he lives with a disease called cystic fibrosis. He is bright, he is vibrant, he is funny, he has a love for science, and he also lives with a disease that requires a lot of work to keep him breathing, truly. Cystic fibrosis primarily affects the lungs, causes chronic inflammation and scarring. He's more susceptible to infection, and infection is much more harmful to him than a typical child. During periods of moderate to high transmission, he needs kids around him masked, and he needs to be masked as well, because the risk to him is so much greater. If Jack were to contract COVID-19, he could die.
My son is Isaac Crawley. He is a 13-year-old middle schooler in Ashburn. He is really into video games and he loves torturing his brother and playing outside with his friends. Really a typical 13-year-old, except for the fact that in his lifetime he has undergone in the range of 35 major surgeries, 10 to 12 of those being through his right chest. As a result of those surgeries, he ended up with a rib cage deformity, which impacted the growth of his right lung. He is extremely social. He is hardworking. He wants to learn. He's an excellent student. He deserves to be in school with his friends, learning, just like the rest of his peers, but with masks to keep him and his peers safe.
What the real problem with this executive order is it's a blanket ruling. It's a blanket statement. It says, without any exception, that schools may unmask. It doesn't have exception for kids with disabilities who may require accommodation under the ADA.
The Americans with Disabilities Act requires schools and states to reasonably modify their policies to accommodate students with disabilities. And when students with disabilities can't safely be in class, they need to take reasonable steps to make that child safe. Right now, the state is preventing the schools from fulfilling their duties under the ADA. We think that the ADA is really quite clear about this. The ADA does not allow blanket rules. There always has to be a way to make an exception for the student with a disability who needs that exception in order to be included. People keep thinking, well, why don't the students with disabilities just get educated at home? And we say the disability community has been seeking integration with everybody else for 50 years, and we're not going back.
I've been fighting for Isaac both educationally and medically. Well, medically since he was born, educationally since he started preschool. I just feel like this is setting a precedent for so many kids in so many places. If it results in my son being able to safely attend school, it's worth it.
The governor's order leaves out an entire population of Virginian children. Every disabled child in Virginia is left out of that order. The governor sent him a message that day. The governor told my son Jack that he didn't deserve an education because he happened to be born high risk. That's not okay. It's not okay.
Bye, Jackie.
Bye-bye.
Love you.